Having a strong, consistent spiritual practice helps you in multiple ways, including strengthening your intuition, strengthening your connection to your spirit guides and spirit allies, helping your energy to be clear to make better decisions, and helping you to take divinely inspired action. So, how exactly does one start a spiritual practice? In part one of the series of my spirit series, I shared some suggestions like maybe starting your day with lighting a candle in prayer, pulling a tarot card or an oracle card, maybe kind of grounding and clearing your energy or asking for protection. And all these things, it might take maybe 5-10 minutes a day. That's pretty manageable. But how do you actually do these things? How do you kind of line it up so it's structured? How do you sort of set yourself up for success? So in this video, I'm going to help you flesh these things out and get started in your practice by giving you some ideas and giving you some tips and tricks to help you kind of flesh out your own strong, consistent daily spiritual practice. By the way, hi, I'm Alexander Creek. I'm a professional intuitive and psychic medium. And in this series called my Spirit Series, I'm sharing kind of different tips and tricks on strengthening your intuition, connecting to your spirit team, kind of sharing what I know about my spiritual practice. And I'm starting here because this is really good foundational stuff. So if you like what you're seeing, make sure that you like this video, leave a comment, maybe share your own spiritual practice or how this resonates for you, and turn on those notifications so that you don't miss a video. So let's go ahead and talk about different ways that you can sort of set up your spiritual practice. Okay, so in what I'm about to share, you can kind of mix and match these things however you would like. You can go in whatever order you want. This is the order that I think is most logical. You could do all the things on this list, or you could just do some of them. But these are just some ways that you can kind of get going in your own practice. And again, a consistent practice, it could just be 5 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be very long. Ideally, maybe like 10 really help you kind of get centered. But let's start from the top. So number one, first, ideally, setting the space. Ideally, maybe you're getting your own kind of spiritual practice in the same sort of spot every day. You might have like a little personal altar that you have your crystals on, or that's a little sacred space for you. I do. If you don't have one, that's fine. But maybe be in the same spot every day. Maybe you're meditating on the same spot in your bed every day. Maybe have like some little room that's just for you, or some little spot in your room that's sort of set up for your connection to spirit and sort of starting your spiritual practice. But again, doesn't matter where you do it. Ideally, though, you're going to be in the same spot just because it helps your brain develop this sort of neural pathways and yada, 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 and kind of tell spirit, okay, like, let's do this. So when you set your space, I like to use maybe like a little incense or sacred smoke, whatever you're using. I personally try not to use things like sage because I think it is endangered, as well as that is like a Native American thing, and I'm like a white guy, so just try to use incense or different herbs that are more in my like lineage. But again, that's up to you. I'm just kind of saying what I do, but I do like to use some kind of smoke. It just sort of awakens the senses. And when I will sort of clear the room with some kind of incense or smoke, just to kind of help to kind of mentally set the space, and also just sort of clear out any energy that might be stagnant or there before, and kind of lift everything up. You could do so you can also close your eyes and imagine that you're sort of setting the energy of the space. So often before, when I go into a client session or reading, I will use sacred smoke, but then I will also imagine like the color gold over all the ceilings, the walls, and the floor. And then I'll do that with the color silver. And then I'll imagine like a violet flame, kind of purifying everything in the room, and it's really clearing out the energy of the room. And that, to me, I just sort of run through those steps just so I'm really telling spirit, like, I mean business. We're changing the energy of what I normally do here to something more sacred, to something more, where I'm sort of setting up my connection to spirit. If you're running short on time and don't want to do those things, you can also just skip it and just sort of use your intention and just say out loud or in your mind, like, hey, I'm shifting the energy of the room right now. Maybe just imagining, like sacred energy kind of filling up the room, but it's however you want to visualize and intend that, because a lot of it really is just your intention. But switching the energy of the room that you're in to something more sacred, it would be step one. And again, you can do this first, you can do this second, I don't really care. It's just however you want to do it. I light a candle. I usually have like a little tea light candle. You could use like a bigger candle if you want to. Something about a candle does help me like focus my energy and intention. And I just feel like it makes it a little bit more special. Like for some reason, I just like need to see the flame. I especially need a candle if I'm doing a client reading. For some reason, it just sort of, again, helps me to set the space and sort of tell spirit. It's like I'm sort of telling spirit in that moment that like messages can start flowing through. I'm ready to receive and pay attention and kind of get into that zone. It makes it a little bit more sacred. Number 3, at this point, this is what I do. This is when I would maybe recommend grounding. And again, you don't have to do grounding if you don't want to. You certainly don't have to do it every day. I tend to do it every day, but there's some days that I don't really feel like doing it, you know? Grounding to me is when I imagine a connection from my physical body and my energy, like linking my energy and physical body via a cord or roots to planet Earth. It's like I imagine like some kind of golden cord going from my feet or from like the base of my spine through the earth to the Earth's core. Sometimes I'll imagine this as like tree trunks or tree roots, but it's like some connection from me to the earth. And I do kind of take my time a little bit with this. You want to feel the earth's energy. You want to feel yourself being drawn to the center of the earth. And then at that point, I imagine that the earth is pulling on my physical body and my energy and pulling out any energy that isn't me or that is not serving me at this time. And I'll usually start from like the top of my head, and I'll like feel my head and my crown begin to release energy, and that energy flows down through that cord or that channel to Mother Earth, where she like recycles it or does whatever she does with it. But I imagine from my crown that I do like my third eye and my head and my neck and my throat and all the energy in between, you know, finally kind of going all the way down to my feet. And as I do that, it calms me down. It gets me more in the present moment. And I do feel like this lightness when I'm done, of like, I was carrying around someone else's energy. I was carrying around someone else's fear or worry or anxiety, or, you know, that can help you to release beliefs and programming that you might have that you don't realize that you might have. It's sort of like you're releasing anything that is not you. And it's like, especially if you are a person that is maybe, you know, more sensitive and intuitive and also kind of on the ADHD spectrum somewhere, like your brain is just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That just tends to clarify and pull out any messy thought energy and helps to just kind of sort of straighten out your brain a little. So I really like to ground. Is there anything else I'm missing with that? By the way, I forgot to mention, when you are setting your intention for the day, you might want to repeat it to yourself as like a really quick mantra, that you're like repeating. And as you're repeating that mantra, you're feeling in your body, you're visualizing it, you're seeing it happen. Or you could like write it down. You could just like write it down, like, you know, like a bunch of times. Sometimes that can kind of feel a little tedious and it feels a little like homework to me, but I kind of do different methods for setting my intention. I might make little reminders on my phone, like little alarms. It might kind of, that might ring like 3 to 4 times that day. And then I look down and I see my intention, and I remind myself of that. And I kind of go back to, yes, that's what I'm creating today. So somewhere during this process of lighting my candle, setting my intention, doing my grounding, I will call on my spirit guides. You know, I usually just say something like, I now call on my highest and most helpful spirit helpers, my guides, my angels, well, ancestors, ascended masters, who run through your list. Doesn't matter. You could simply say like, I ask my angels to come in right now. That's all. You know, if you work with someone specifically, like if you're connected to a specific archangel, if you're connected to like Mother Mary or Hecate, whoever it is, whoever your spirit allies are, whoever you are working with, I would sort of call them in. And I might say, like, I call on my spirit allies to come into my space now. I ask to help me walk in my highest timeline. I might ask for healing. I might ask them to sort of give me a message. And when I ask my spirit team for a message, instead of like listening and like really amplifying my intuitive abilities, because that could be really hard to, get intuitive information for yourself just like really clearly like that, I might pull a card. I might pull an oracle card with like a message on it. I might pull a tarot card. I might do some sort of divinatory reading that allows spirit to sort of give me that information. Or I might simply ask, like, hey, I'm just going to ask, like, maybe just show up today. Maybe show up with like a message in like the middle of a day, like make your presence known to me. And they will. It could be something that someone says offhand that's like the message that you were needing to hear. It could be a book that presents itself to you or whatever information. But it's kind of asking your spirit allies to come in during that time. And you might feel something too. Like you might sense like a shift in the room. You might sense like more like a sense of peace in your heart. You might notice oftentimes when I am running through these exercises, different parts of my body will start to twitch. It's like the energy that I'm working with, it's like there's like all of a sudden it's like my shoulder is like, or my leg is like doing something, and it's like my body noticing the shift in subtle energy. So that's something that might happen to you as well. This is when I might pull a tarot or oracle card, asking for a message for the day, asking for advice, or asking about like, hey, what might be some energy that I'm going to experience today, and what is the advice to deal with it, right? I usually pull a card only after I've kind of set the space, maybe lit a candle, use some sacred smoke, and at least had a couple moments to kind of clear my energy and calm down. Because if I just grab my cards and like in shuffling, like, I won't trust the message as much. It's like I need time to allow myself to slow down and clear my thoughts in my space and really allow spirit in for a few minutes before I pull a card. That's just me. You can do it however you want. But again, sample questions that you might want to ask of your deck might be, what is the energy that I might experience today? What is the advice today? What is the energy that I should be aligning myself to today? Something like that. You can experiment. If you don't know the meanings of tarot cards, if you're nervous to work with the tarot for whatever reason, you can get an oracle deck. These are, because you might not want to spend time interpreting Ace of Cups reversed, for example, if you don't know what the hell any of that means. You might want to get like a really simple oracle deck that just have like different spiritual messages on them. Like it might be like a certain angel that's around you, or a certain spirit guide. There are many different kinds of oracle decks. It's really about whatever you are vibing with, resonating with. You do not have to wait for someone to buy a deck for you or to be gifted to you. That is a total myth. That being said, if someone does randomly gift you a deck, it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, maybe I should be using that, But go with whatever deck you are vibing with. And if you're just starting out, I would keep it really, really simple. I would keep it to like 1 or 2 cards per day. Don't overwhelm yourself with too much information. And this leads me to my next tip. This is when I would whip out my journal. I have a specific journal that I'm actually probably gonna promote on here because I really like it. But you could just use a basic notebook, college rule notebook. It doesn't matter. This could be, I might write down the card that I pulled, or the feelings I felt, or the messages that I received, maybe in my meditation or whatever. It might be just that you are blabbing about your day and need to sort of dump this thought energy down so you can have sort of clearer, decision making the rest of the day. But I usually will write down my tarot pulls or different things that I'm feeling and different things that I want to create. It's just because I have a lot of Gemini in my chart and a lot of Mercury, the planet of communication, is very active in my chart. So I do feel better when I'm writing things down, when I'm talking about my dream that I had the night before, things that I want to create that day. It just really helps sets the tone. It helps to sort of organize my thoughts. And often I'll go back and look and be like, oh, that intuitive insight I had that random Tuesday really manifested several days later. Like I didn't know that I was really onto something at that time. And that way, just kind of keeping a journal of your thoughts, maybe of your card pulls, it's going to be really helpful for you kind of going forward in your spiritual practice. Second to last would be prayer. I mean, this is the simplest, maybe the most effective one you can possibly do, because sometimes all you have is 30 seconds in the morning before your children start to, bust down the door and demand food or pancakes, whatever. I don't know. I don't have kids, but like I'm familiar with them. And sometimes that's all the time that you have, is simply prayer. And it might be like lighting a candle, taking a moment to ask Spirit to come in to help clear energy. And you might just be asking to like, please help me walk in my highest timeline. Please, Spirit guides, angels, God, Goddess, whatever, please be around me today as I deal with this or work through this. And please show up for me in my life today. And simply doing that will help you as well. Like that simple prayer is going to help strengthen your intuition as well, because prayer is a form of meditation and intention setting. Lastly, golden sun / psychic meditation. So this is something that I do a lot. It's something I taught psychic development students, and this is kind of a foundation for when I go into a reading. So this is really going to really help supercharge that intuition development. I will leave a link to a guided meditation in the comments. And that so the last one I'm going to talk about is the golden sun, or calling your own energy back to you. So this is often most effective right after you ground your energy, or to sort of conclude your spiritual practice for that day. This is a visualization. So you are going to be like focusing your attention and awareness with your eyes closed, above your head or above your crown chakra. And you're going to visualize like a ball of golden energy. And in this ball of golden energy, I usually like to visualize like a magnet with my name written on it. And that magnet is calling my soul's energy back to this ball of golden light. And this golden light becomes bigger and bigger until it eventually resembles like this huge golden sun. And your sun is sort of calling back your own soul energy that you may have given away in the world somewhere, that that it's like essentially like once you sort of clear out what isn't you, you're calling back your soul's energy to you. You can sort of let that sun fill up with whatever you need, or you can put your intention in it. You can be like, I really have a big day today. I like a really important interview. I want to fill this golden sun with like boss energy, CEO energy, badass energy, money, see, and imagine that energy going into that golden sun. Let's say that you are working on a creative project and you need some inspiration. You can fill that sun with inspiration. You can ask your guides, to put in whatever they think that you would need. It can be for like, I'm going to, whatever energy that you would think that you would need. So you call that sun down, you visualize it sort of, cracking over your head and filling in all the cells of your body, all of the different cracks and crevices like in your energy system, and just really filling up with this like radiant, warm light. And that's usually how I will end my spiritual practice session, or end my meditation. And it can be a really powerful way to sort of call in this like rejuvenating, restorative energy, and really be like, wow, I really filled up with some really interesting, beautiful information. And it's a way to really practice self-love on a very kind of, I think, deep, visceral level. It's like I'm really kind of giving back to myself after giving out so much of my energy every single day, day in and day out. If you want something to kind of tie everything together, I do have a really powerful guided meditation available on my website that helps you to clear and release and fill up with your own energy. And that's the price of a cup of coffee. It is, however, not required to have a strong spiritual practice, but it is a cool little bonus if you're like, I really like the stuff, I want to go deeper, specifically with meditation. But if you're like, I don't really want to meditate that much right now, like, don't worry about it. But that is available in the comment section if you want the link for that. So, but anyway, I hope you found this video helpful on getting a good start with your daily spiritual practice. Hopefully it gave you some ideas and tips and tricks and different things that you can do if you feel totally lost and don't know where to start. Let me know maybe what you want me to talk about or what you want me to share as far as spirituality, intuition, spirit guides, talking to spirit, all that good stuff. So thanks again. And make sure if you are not following by now that you are following maybe at the end of this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.